All right, let's talk about inflation. Now, for most people, it's just about prices going up at the grocery store. But if you're looking at the markets, you know it's something else. It's one of the quietest but most powerful forces that can move entire currencies. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how this invisible force really works, and more importantly, how you can learn to see it. Let's dive in. Okay, first things first, let's make this real. It's a slow burn, you know? You don't really notice it day to day, but your money is constantly, well, it's fading. At its core, inflation is just a simple, brutal fact. Your money buys less today than it did yesterday. I want you to think back, maybe a decade ago. That $100 bill, it felt substantial, right? You could walk into a grocery store and pretty much fill your cart without thinking too much about it. That was just normal. Now jump back to today. You walk in with that same $100 bill, and what do you get? Maybe half a cart if you're being careful. The piece of paper is the same, but its power, that's what's vanished. And that is the quiet erosion we need to understand.
So what is happening here? I mean, where did all that value just disappear to? This isn't just random prices going up. It's about the very foundation of our money getting weaker. And if governments know this is happening, why do they let it continue?
You see, most people think inflation is just an accident. Like bad weather, it just happens. But here's what you need to understand as a trader. A lot of the time, it's not an accident at all. It's created on purpose. It's a policy choice, and it has huge consequences for the market. So here's the typical playbook. It usually kicks off with the government spending a lot of money. To fund it, the central bank steps in and expands the money supply. Now, they're not always firing up the printing presses. A lot of this is digital. Think of it as them just adding zeros to bank accounts, which lets banks lend out way more money. And look, a little inflation can actually be a good thing. It gets people spending and keeps the economy humming. But here's the catch. When you have way more money chasing the same amount of stuff, the value of each and every dollar starts to quietly drop. And this is the key thing you have to remember. Flooding the system with more money doesn't create more value. Not at all. It's like, imagine you have a glass of juice. If you keep adding water to it, yeah, you get more liquid, but the flavor just gets weaker and weaker. It's the exact same principle with a currency.
So if a currency's value isn't just about how much of it is floating around, then what is it really about? Well, for that, we need to zoom out. Every currency is basically judged on a global stage, and its worth is ultimately decided by one incredibly powerful force: confidence.
To really get this, let's just imagine a simple scenario. You've got two countries. Country A, they play it safe. They focus on stability, keeping inflation low and predictable. But then you have Country B. They go for broke, printing tons of money to try and get a quick, short-term economic sugar rush.
So how does the market react? Well, investors look at Country A and see a safe pair of hands. They trust the management, they park their money there, and the currency stays strong. But Country B, they've lost all credibility. Investors get spooked, capital flees, and the currency tanks. And believe me, this isn't just a textbook example. We see this story play out in the real world over and over again.
And this right here brings us to the absolute core of it for any trader. Central banks are always in a tug of war, trying to control inflation on one side while trying to boost the economy on the other. That constant battle is what creates the signals that we live and breathe by every single day.
These are the signals you're hunting for. When inflation data comes out hot, you know the central bank has to do something. You start dissecting their policy statements, looking for clues, and of course the big one, their decisions on interest rates. It's all a direct result of this ongoing fight, this tension. This is what creates the market volatility, and for us, that's where the opportunity is. Now, textbook theory says if a central bank raises interest rates to fight inflation, that should make its currency stronger, right? It attracts foreign money. But, and this is a huge but, what if the market has already lost faith? What if they just don't trust that the central bank can get things under control? Well, in that case, hiking rates can look like a desperate move, and it could actually make the currency even weaker.
And that's exactly why trading currencies is so much more than just staring at numbers on a screen. You have to understand the deeper, more fundamental thing that actually gives a currency its real value.
And that thing is what we call economic confidence. It's really just a fancy term for trust. It's the collective belief that the people in charge know what they're doing and that their money will still be worth something tomorrow. If that trust isn't there, nothing else matters.
I want you to really let this next thought sink in, because it's the most important takeaway here. A currency doesn't collapse just because a government prints a lot of money. It collapses the moment that people, investors, and its own citizens lose trust. That's the tipping point.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. As you're watching the markets, are you just waiting for the next inflation report to come out? Or are you learning how to read between the lines?